Welcome to Heaven on Earth. We are on like episode 9 or something like that, but glad to have you guys back. We got Cam in the cut. We got Freddie in the cut. And to start this episode, I had a dream on Monday and I shared it with the guys, but I want to share it with you guys and then also get the thoughts from the guys. So this is the dream. I had to write it down. That's how good it was. And this was God speaking. So you finally got in the car of your dreams, right? And this woman comes and asks you if she can drive it. She really doesn't ask you. She just takes the car, like just hops into the driver's seat, starts the car. You hop into the passenger. You're just like, what is going on? Now she takes the car and you could tell her no and leave, but you're naive and you let her drive because you're trying to figure out what's going on. As she's driving straight recklessly. She's driving in the dirt, moving at 145 miles per hour. You're politely asking her to slow down, but she's not hearing you or listening to you. Now you start yelling and you're just like, slow down and get out of my car. And she will not do it. Like, she'll only slow down to 75 miles per hour. However, you're like fed up and you're demanding like, pull over, let me get back into the driver's seat. Like, this is my car. She's not listening. Now she keeps trying to sweet talk you and so she can really stay in control. And finally you guys stop at a gas station. You get out, you're gonna go buy some drink, like a refreshment. So like some Sprite, Fanta, something like that. And then now and the craziest part is you've forgiven her for what she just did. However, it's like you want to drive. And she gets out, goes into the passenger seat. While you're buying the food and you're coming back, she's gone. And now throughout that chaos, it's known that you should be driving because you're the one. First, it's your car. You have the most experience driving. You have insurance. She doesn't. You have a license. She doesn't. And then all that goes into your head as you realize that she just took your car for more of a joyride is, this woman is going to be the end of me. She's going to kill me. And as you turn the corner searching, you see police lights in the distance. And the only thing that comes into your head is, oh my God, you just can't be serious. Like, this is really happening to me. And then before you can see the police lights and the situation and who's involved, you wake up. Now, this is like what I got from that was, this is what God deals it with when it comes to us. And I put me in particular. He comes to take care of me, and he comes with fine things of life, like the good things in life. And instead of me being grateful, submissive, loving, looking to serve, knowing my role, I come to demand from him. I become reckless with the things he gives me. I become reckless with his things. Shoot, you drive the cars recklessly. We spend our riches recklessly. We act rude we just act rude to people. And you can say like butler and maids, but I'm just putting it like God, like Jesus is the richest man and he's giving you these things and sharing his wealth with you, and all the things that he's sharing with you, you're just acting very reckless with it. And we make him look terrible as a partner because of our lack of humility and love. And then the second part of the dream was, now say you're with the person in the car and they don't ask you to drive the car. They understand like, this is your car. This is a dream car of yours. And the first thing they do is start asking you questions about the car. How did you get it? Why is this your favorite car, etc.? Now you're having a conversation with them for say over an hour and you're thinking to yourself, wow, like they actually care about me. They care about my opinions. And this is the first person to ask about my history and the things that I enjoy. They genuinely are enjoying the ride and they're adding joy to the experience with you. Now you're compelled and you ask them if they would love to drive. And they say, no, I know how much this car means to you. I wouldn't dare. Plus I got my license and insurance recently. I don't have the experience to drive that vehicle. With what you know about their driving experience, or with what they know about their driving experience, they decline it. But that's wisdom in their head. And then now you're wanting to share that experience. So you offer to teach them how to drive the car. And they ask you if you're sure, you confirm to them. So for the next few months, you're going through rigorous exercises and they're obeying you. At times they'll fail, and at times you see them fighting their old selves, being frustrated. However, days and months go by with this person and they show amazing qualities. One, they're faithful to you as a teacher because they relinquish control to you because you're the instructor. Two, they show hope as they come back every day to gain more and more experience from you. And they only go to you only. No matter how easy or how hard the lesson, they're consistently obeying and coming back to you. And then three, they show love. They never speak ill about you, no matter how tough you make the course. When they make a mistake, they confide in you on what they should do better, what they can do better for better results, instead of blaming you and the environment. And then throughout that course, they share their life experience with you as well. A year has gone by now, and that person has a good amount of experience. They ask you, how did you come about your experience to teach? And how do you drive so excellently? And you reveal to them your father is the one who created the vehicle. You drove in the first time you drove together. Your driving instructor was an all-time winning driver until some young buck recently broke his record. And then the person instantly sympathizes for the instructor. And then you reveal to them that you're the young buck that broke that record. Now everything makes sense, and soon they're racing, and then they start to win. And when people ask them how did they come up upon like their skills, they credit it back to you, as you were the original champion. Now, throughout that story, that you person is Jesus. The passenger in the first and second story is who we are versus who we should be. And I mean, that was really the story for me there, but what you guys...
Ready, you go first.
I know it was a lot.
Oh, man. What?
Hold on, yeah,
Let me get this microphone ready.
Go ahead, get your setup, Fred.
All right. Well, the first part I understood it, as you mentioned, the lady drove recklessly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, she had no respect for your personal belongings, right?
Yeah.
So she went ahead and did not care.
Didn't care.
Didn't do, even that, in fact, you're like, she just grabbed it, it was gone, right? I don't even think she asked you, did she?
No.
Exactly, right? I don't think she asked you, like, hey, I'm going to take it for a cruise, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Told us the thing, right?
Just takes it and just goes crazy. Didn't
Crazy,
totally
wild.
yet.
Okay.
But...
I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
In the most part, she did things that you wouldn't have done to your car, meaning like she drove crazy, burned rubber, she did, all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Things that you would scratch your rim, park it in the way that you shouldn't, that, hey, bro, like I take care of the rims, come on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was careless, right?
Yeah.
So that portion is sometimes how we sometimes treat, right?
Yeah.
How sometimes we treat, and that's the way I was capturing as I was gearing everything, and there's an echo on my phone, so I was hearing multiple things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understood it completely. Like that sometimes it could be careless on how we sometimes take on that responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Our relationship with God and how important it is to Him, how important you are, and I know in this sense you're talking about a vehicle, right?
Yeah.
And this is what I understand according to what you're mentioning. I hope I'm right, but
yeah,
like that's the way sometimes we end up, treating our, the life that God's giving us, right? We have a new car, new vehicle, we're trying to take care of it, and other people are reckless, right? They care not so much for it, and that's sometimes how they treat their, their own personal lives, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So that was my take.
And it's a really good take on it, and I understand the analogy of the car, but like how John and I were talking, I believe it was on Monday, the dream could be many things.
Yeah.
And like the biggest thing that like him and I were discussing is it's the potential person that God also wants you to be with as well.
Yeah.
And that's what I took away from it, was like after I read it, is realistically nowadays how dating is working, and like it even goes on another level of like even friendships
just
or
relationships
in general, but like my focus is going to be on relationships. Is the person that you're choosing out of self-will will treat you like the first driver.
Yeah.
They're going to be self-centered, focused on them, using you for your assets and the potential that they see you as. Then it's going to be arguments, not listening, blame shifting, pointing fingers, and it's just an identifier in which now I'm going to use in my own life.
Yeah.
So like I'm making it personal here. And then the second driver is a person that God's bringing into your life.
Yeah.
Because like if I realistically think about it, I've dated a decent amount of people.
Yeah.
But the thing that got me today when you read it was when the second person got in the car, they asked deep, endearing questions.
Yeah.
Meaning like, how did you get it? Oh, what happened in your past? Like they're interested in you instead of your things.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm not saying that I haven't experienced that, but like that should be a telltale sign that somebody's actually interested in you and potentially sent from God. Because the reality of the situation, bro, there's not very many people left, bro, that ask you questions about you. It's usually like, let me tell you about me.
Yeah.
What's going on with here and this and that. And it's like, they might ask for your opinion every once in a while. But like, that's how you can genuinely tell that this person is into you for who you are. And they're interested enough to ask you a question.
Yeah.
And then like, I do like though how in your interpretation of the dream, I think of myself, driver 1 is before Christ.
Yeah.
And driver 2 is after Christ. Because it's like, without Christ, my main factor of getting things done or pushing myself forward was pride and ego. And when I'm operating in pride and ego, I'm only thinking about me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care about you. You just have something that I want and I want it, so I'm going to go get it type of thing. And then it's like, you're also not even thinking about that other person that you're sitting next to. And that's what I got too, was like, she's driving all crazy.
Yeah.
She's doing all this and that. And in her mind, she's not even thinking about like your well-being.
Yeah.
Or what may John be thinking about when he's driving. And then it's like, fast forward to driver number 2. And this person is so considerate.
Yeah.
That they're like, I just want to be next to you in your car while you're driving.
Yeah.
And like, okay, well, I don't have this. So like now it's doing an internal view of this person sitting there.
Yeah.
It's almost like an unspoken line of respect too.
Yeah.
Is like, I know that he's worked hard to get this. And this is something that I may be aspiring for.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the passenger seat and ask him, how did you do this? Like, how did you get here? How did you learn this? And that's what it takes to be a great person later in life.
Yeah.
Because driver 1 is all about right now.
Yeah.
Driver 2 is all about
Long term.
And if you think about it realistically, and I know there's going to be somebody that says like, oh, well, we could die tomorrow. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
But even if I do die tomorrow, I'm still going to be driver number 2.
Yeah.
Because the potential of me hitting 80, and if I continue to be driver number 2 with everybody that God places into my life, you're gaining so much wisdom without having to go through certain barriers. Because when you ask the driver, if I'm person number 2, hey, how did you get here? Like, how did you get to this point? 100% of the time, they're going to tell you how they did it.
Yeah.
But they're also going to tell you, these were the struggles I was facing while all of this was going on, and I wish I did something like this. Because usually somebody's pretty humble. When you ask them a question like that, they'll be like, yeah, it's all great and all this, but I could have got this sooner if I did this. Or
they want to help.
Yeah.
Like,
you
they
want to help
truly
you.
want to help you. And they see someone that's curious, it's like, oh, man, like, You want to know, like, I've been waiting for someone to tell.
Yes.
Like, here, like, this is what I did. If you need anything, and you always hear that too.
Yeah.
Like, from people with a humble heart, if you need anything, like, let me know.
Just
I'm
call
here to
me.
help you.
Yep.
And then you call them and they are there. Like, I have people in my job, like, that are really successful. And because of, like, my hunger to just learn from them and their mistakes and what they're doing correctly, they're always there for me. Like, something, I may not know something, I'll give them a call. They'll answer. I had one guy, and this is, like, my guy. I called this guy on a Friday night, I want to say, like, 8 p.m. because there was, like, something that went on that was just off. Like, it was just wrong.
Yeah.
It was a big thing, a big escalation. This guy gave me, like, answers the call at 8 p.m. on a Friday night,
Yeah.
helped me throughout that whole escalation, reaches back to me on Monday. How did that go? I'm like, bro, you gave me the answer to what I needed, whereas I've reached out to so many people, no one could give me that answer. You gave me that answer, pointed me in the right direction. We got everything fixed. We built more of a relationship with the customer I was working with because of you, and I appreciate that. And it's like, man, if you need, and then now me and him have such a great bond. Like, we're always meeting every week. Hey, do you need help with anything? Like, because he works bigger, like, accounts than I do. And then for me, it's like, I'm still getting to that level, like, where he's at, because he makes big bucks.
Well, it takes time and experience.
Yeah.
And what he's willing to do is guide
give me
you.
the experience a lot faster. And it's like, that's wisdom. Like, that's wisdom at the highest form. Because you have the ones where you have to go through your own experience, and that's like here. But if you can learn from someone else's experience, that's true wisdom, like, at its purest.
That's my definition of wisdom.
Yeah.
Is being able to learn from somebody else's experiences as they're explaining it to you.
Yeah.
Without having
To go through it yourself. Yeah.
But then it changes from wisdom to being wise.
Yeah.
That's being wise is being able to do that. I just love that so much because it's like the concept that John is pitching right now can save so many people from hardships that you don't have to get yourself into and then bring yourself to your knees and beg God to help you get out of it.
Yeah.
Because God will position people, and this is, well, I'll just use my testimony for it, right? Hardened to drugs.
Yeah.
Like, I had a problem with drugs, and what God did for me, even when I did not have a relationship with him, he put people further down the line from me.
Yeah.
And like, what happened was he was giving me a visual 5 years later, 10 years later, 15 years later, 20 years later. And these people are all clean now because that's where I met them, is in a clean environment.
Yeah.
But like, I saw the damage that accumulated over time. And even in I was like 22, 23 at the time, I was listening to them.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh snap, like, this isn't just a problem that I'm having, but it's like all these people have had it. And like, I remember beating myself up, right? I'm listening to all of these guys because I'm like, oh, my life. I remember like Satan was telling me in my head, the devil was like, oh, you're not even that bad. Like, why are you even here?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even that bad. But then like, I realized through them explaining to like how it led them into prison, how they have felonies, how they have like completely butchered their family and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even have to go there.
Yeah.
Like, I never vocalized that to them, but like, I was like, this is something I no longer want to do because I've seen this, and it's not a judgment.
No.
It's literally, they took the time to be real with me.
Yeah.
And explain the truth. And then like, I still remember there's a very older gentleman that like, he was literally like, I wish I was doing this at your age. And I, at the time, did not understand that.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, what do you mean? There's so many things, like, in my head, I'm like, there's so many things I could be doing. People look at me in my age group, think I'm lame or like this and that. And then like, now that I'm even a little bit older, I see what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because it's like, his life could have potentially been completely different.
Yeah. And that's for many people.
Yeah.
And not So one, I just want to make this clear statement. We're not perfect.
No.
So whenever we say these things, it's not us being perfect. It's us coming to understanding and Holy Spirit speaking through us, to us, as well as to you guys. We're not perfect. So we're still learning every single day.
Yes.
That's why I said, me personally, I was still as driver number one. God will bring blessings and then I can still piss it away, or I can just try to my best to damage it, but it's because I don't understand. And to break down the wisdom level, right? You have the wisdom of going through your own experience.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we'll put it here. Wisdom of learning through others' experience through the stories they tell you. And these are people,
Yeah.
life people, even people, YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And then the ultimate wisdom is when you start understanding from the Bible and you take what it says. You don't even try to dabble or try to figure it out, because
Or manipulate it to fit your situation.
it's like, no, this is what the Bible says. This is what it means. If it tells me stay away from this because of this, I'll stay away because of this.
Yeah.
I don't even want to try to figure it out myself no more. And it just, but that's how God keeps humbling you and refining you. Like, you keep trying little things. All right, you want to try it? Discipline you. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to do that. Or then even he'll tell you, like, it's okay to do this. You want to doubt it. And then he's like, all right, you don't want to believe me? Go ahead. Don't do it. And then it's like, fine, okay, I get it. Like,
Yeah,
you said it. This is okay. It's okay to do that.
And I'll go out and just be truly honest. I'm working on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're all working on it.
But the lessons that I feel like God really wanted me to learn because of my stubbornness,
Yeah.
he made me go through them.
Yeah.
And like, and I'm not saying, and I'm saying this as a word of encouragement to potentially somebody listening that feels like they're in a loop. Like, you feel like you're having the same scenarios happen. It doesn't matter if you change from like job, place, friends, but you have this pattern going on. It's God literally trying to get through your thick skull
Yeah.
that you need to learn a specific lesson.
Yeah.
Because it's like Jonah. Jonah tried to run away from Nineveh, but what did God do? Bring him right
Right back.
back. And he's going to do that with us as well.
Yeah.
If it's especially if God is trying to elevate you to a different place,
Yeah.
what he's going to do before that ascension happens, he's going to start pruning you.
Yeah.
And like, you can't, I'm not going to let you go to the promised land unless you drop this. Because if I get you here, I know you're going to mess it up.
Bro, literally, like, that's facts. And what I was actually reading this morning, Ezekiel 36 verse 25, God said, I will sprinkle clean water upon you, and you shall be clean. I will cleanse you from all your uncleanliness and from all your fetishes, and I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit into you. I will remove the heart of stone from your body and give you a heart of flesh, and I will put my spirit into you. Thus I will cause you to follow my laws and faithfully to observe my rules. Then you shall dwell in the land which I gave to your fathers, and you shall be my people, and I'll be your God. He was literally saying, like, no, because you have a hardened heart, I'm gonna make sure your heart turns soft, and then I can dwell in it.
Bro.
And if you make that prayer and you can sit like, but you're true to it, however you may be making mistakes, he's gonna consistently put you through that cycle. And one thing we need to realize, people need to get, is this fact here. If you're going through that cycle for a second in your life, stop, realize, think about what's going on, and address it. Because if you don't address the situation and then now go forward, like, you have to go through the situation with God. He's going to take you through it, but you have to go through it. Ignorance is not bliss.
Nope.
That does not work. You cannot hide yourself in ignorance, because guess what? You're going to get punished. You have to go through, you have to learn the lesson in what you're going through. You have to learn that lesson. And then not only learn it, now when you get that solution and you know that truth, apply the truth in your life and be consistent with it. Me and Cam were just talking about it. The two biggest principles is integrity, and what was the other one? Consistency?
Well, you brought up consistency.
Or discipline?
It's like a twofold. Into integrity comes into a huge breakdown, but the one that you brought up was consistency. We can bring up discipline now, and then
humility.
It's it. And it's also accountability.
Yeah.
Because, like, before the podcast, we were kind of talking about this, and it's like, what it really boils down to is you have to have integrity with yourself first. Because, like, especially coming to Christ and...
No. I wouldn't even say integrity first. It has to be accountability first. Because you have to... It ties in together, but, like, you have to look into the mirror first.
Yeah.
And you have to... All right. Life is this way because I keep making these mistakes.
Yep.
So now that's that accountability. This is my fault.
Yeah, and you have to get to that point because the reality of the situation of growth and change, and I feel like this is where our generation struggles the most.
Yeah.
Is like we're the coming of age of being full-blown adults.
Yeah.
But we still want to act like
children.
The preschooler that, like, I go and kick you in the shin.
Yeah.
And then now the teacher's yelling at me and they're like, Cameron, why did you do that? And I'll be like, oh, because John looked at me weird. It had nothing to do with John. Like, bro, you could have not kicked him.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's like, but we live in a society where it's the easiest now than ever to kind of like say a comment or live. This is
it's praised.
Living the double life is so easy now because it's like, this is who I portray myself to be online, and that's where integrity comes in too, because integrity is who you are and how you act when you think nobody's watching.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you have no integrity, I can go on, you and I could be doing this.
Yeah.
And I could be praising God, lifting up his name, this Bible verse, this thing.
Yeah.
And then I go home and I'm a completely different person. But I like to sleep at night, so I'm not like that. But like, that's what the basis of all of this is you have to get there in here.
Yeah.
And then what I do really like about the verse that you brought up, because it's a key point and something that I'm going to be talking about in person, is we come to God with a hardened heart.
Yeah.
And he literally softens it, right? But then this literally happened today, a visual for me, right? Because I've heard it all the time. We're the clay, he's the potter.
Yeah.
What he does in that softening process is you're offering yourself up at that point of being a material, a pure good material. And if we're looking at it in the scope of pottery, the clay has to be soft. It has to be moldable.
To be moldable.
And then now the potter can come in and work and mold and shape you into who you were meant to be. And the way that I wrote it in my thing that I'm going to give a talk about is when you get to that softening point and you allow the master to work, he creates you into the masterpiece you were already destined to be.
Bro.
But now he gets to stamp you with his name, with the blood of Jesus Christ in the signature, because that's the example he's giving you. And then he's like, boom, because he knows that you're only going to give him the glory.
Yeah. And it's bro, to give you a better one than the clay, put it as gold. Because remember how Proverbs keeps
process,
the refining process, like, you can be a brick and that's hardened.
Yep.
And it's like, this is what you are. Everybody else is that brick. And then now it's like, no, I'm going to put you through the heat because I need to melt you. I mean, I need you to be melted so I can actually make you how I had you.
Yeah, and
destined.
then reshape you. Boom.
But then when you go through heat, it's hot. It's like, can't handle it.
Your impurities burn out.
Yeah, but it's burning out. And it's like really softening you up. And it's like, dang, like, why am I going through this? And you know, you hear that. God, like, why is this happening to me? And then as time goes on, then eventually that's all burned out. The impurities are burned out. And then now it's like, okay, this is what I had you. This is what I meant for you to be. And then now you become that. And then now you're unique.
It's very true what you're saying. And, like, I just got this thought, like, thinking about what you're saying, too, is, like, the starting process of the hardened heart, right? Your ears are closed. You feel like you know best. Your ego and pride are probably at its fullest. And then when God starts that process on you,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like for me, like I'll just use myself as an example, is like I didn't really want to listen to anybody.
Yeah.
It was like you couldn't teach me anything. All right, whatever, like that's your opinion. But what he did with me is he allowed the refining process to humble me, to reveal to me how many impurities that I had in myself.
Yeah.
Right? And then now I'm on the other side. Like, it's a constant refining process.
Yeah.
But for the sake of the conversation, I'm on the other side. Is what it did, it allowed me to understand I'm a person of problems.
Yeah.
Everybody has problems.
Yeah.
But what it did for me is it slowed my pace down. And so now when he positions me in front of somebody, I can listen to them.
Yeah.
And like I could relate and have empathy with that person. And then it goes back to how like the beginning of this conversation started, is like because of that process that's happened to me, I feel like the knowledge that I've been able to gain has exponentially tenfolded due to being able to see somebody that's ahead of me
Yeah.
in a certain situation, and instead of ridicule,
Yeah.
oh, they just got lucky, this and that, their
Blaming-
parents,
you're being a
whatever.
victim.
Yeah, being a victim. I can sit there and ask them the genuine questions of driver number 2,
Yeah.
get the response from the driver in scenario 2, and then it's like you become teachable. Because like the biggest thing for me was like I never really read the Bible.
Yeah.
Now that I'm reading the Bible, I have this epiphany of like, dude, I've had all these answers the whole time.
Yeah.
But I'm humble enough to know that the Holy Spirit's leading me while I'm reading.
Yeah.
So therefore put something above me. Now that I have this perspective that I'm not the apex pinnacle
Yeah.
of like what's going on and God's there, it allows me to remain human and have these conversations with people
Yeah.
that he's trying to allow me to have the conversation with, to teach me things that like, it's like reading a book. Somebody could spend 20, 25 years of experience,
Yeah.
put it in a 250 page book. You and I could read it in 6 months and gain that 25 years of knowledge.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the conversations, but you have to be humble, genuine, and like realistically curious. Like I like that you use that word, curious about what it is that this person did, because as soon as somebody in that sort of status too,
Yeah.
say I come at them a little bit sus,
Yeah.
somebody that's made to that point has seen a lot
Yeah.
and
they
dealt
could
with a
tell.
lot of people.
Discernment's
Yeah.
there.
And they're going to be like, oh, this guy is just a joke, whatever. But when they see that you're genuinely curious,
Yeah.
not for the potential of what this person could give me, but the knowledge that this person has,
Yeah.
and you never ask for anything,
Yeah.
this person's willing to pour into you
Yeah.
until you tell them to stop.
Yeah.
And it's like, what I got to the point is like, that's more valuable than anything I can get in this present moment.
That's facts.
Because like I could satisfy myself with like hustling this guy and telling some sob story that I need some money, and I come up on him and it's like I cut that fountain of knowledge off. Or
I mean, it goes back to the proverbs we've heard. Like,
yeah,
you could give a man a fish, he'll eat
Yeah.
for a day. Now you teach a man how to fish, he could eat for the rest of his life.
it's facts.
And it's like, it goes back to that like concept. And it's, again, it's like, what do you want in your life? But that's where you have to make that decision. Like, Proverbs was not lying with anything in there. It's like, do you want to gain wealth fast? You will lose it fast.
Yep.
Because you're never going to be satisfied, and then you're going to be spending, or you're going to be hoarding it, and like it's going to be gone. You're never going to enjoy it.
Well,
However,
I like that analogy, right? You're
Yeah.
either going to be spending it or you're going to be hoarding it, right? when you're spending it,
Mm-hmm.
why are you spending it? I gotta look fly. I gotta
Yeah.
impress people. So you're gonna be being your own God.
Yeah.
And then if I'm hoarding it, I don't trust God.
Yeah.
Thing is, it's the facts, bro.
Inferiority and superiority.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's-
that complex.
Yep.
You're never in the like midline. And it, like throughout this whole like podcast too, like we've been going through the refining process because
Yep.
we know it. Like I try my best to be as transparent, but certain things like you don't say, like
Yeah.
obviously. But like I've gone through it where like there's been like times like the pride has been through the roof, and it's like, dang, God will humble me fast. And it's like,
Yep.
all right, and then I can like think ill about people, and then God humbles me. He's like, don't forget, you were just like them.
Yeah.
You are just like them right now because your heart's there. And it's like, dang. But it's great though, because it gets to that point, and you said like, God's gonna get us. He puts us in a point where all eyes are on us
Yeah.
because of our faith and what we claim, and like we are scrutinized heavily.
Yeah.
And it's fun though, as tough as it may be, because there's been people that seen the worst of me before I gave my life
Yeah.
to God. They've seen it even when I gave my life to God and I've had a bad day or a bad month or a bad week. They've seen it, like that part come out, and it's like, but I like it because that holds me accountable. Because you
Yeah.
can't hold yourself accountable all the time, but God will do it for you. Because then he'll all right, you made this claim. Now if you want to go back to the old you, look at all these people that are watching you. Now you gotta think about it. All these people, the moment you mess up, they gonna say something.
Bro, let me. This is not my testimony. It's my mom's.
Uh-huh.
Right? With her whole things going on with her business and her cancer situation, right?
Yeah.
She's praying, God, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
Right? And me being a child listening to my mom when I'm saying this, I'm not understanding. So I'm giving you the preface of where I'm at. Well, this is getting explained to me. She explains to us the response that she got back. Tiffany, they're watching you. And like being an adult now, I understand it fully what God was revealing to my mom. It's because my mom was open about her faith. Her business has Trinity in the name.
Yeah.
And it's like Christian-based business. She's influenced with all these people.
Yeah.
She's seen all these people. She's worked with all these people. And bro, there's still to this day, I'll encounter people from my parents in my past
Yeah.
that was like, oh, we were watching your mom go through that.
Yeah.
Like, and they wanted to see. Your mom has said A, B, C, and D.
Yeah.
All right, bet. Now let's see if you can watch. Like, look, what's gonna happen now?
Yeah.
Right. And during that process, her faith doubled. In that process, my mom didn't even have to have specific conversations with people. Gave their life to Christ.
Yeah.
Because it's a truth. When you say to somebody that's living in the world,
Yeah.
I am a Christian,
Yeah.
this person has a concept of, oh, John thinks he's perfect. All right.
Uh-huh.
Let's like,
Yeah. Hey, bro.
hey, no, it's the
No,
truth,
you
bro.
saying that? Yeah. Yeah. Just put it that way. I've heard a few times, and people didn't know that they said this to me.
Yeah.
But I've heard it a few times where they've told me like, just because they've seen one mishap, they've
Yep.
seen me be human, like and make a mistake. I've had people tell me like, you try to personify yourself like you're this person, and look at you, like you're not perfect, and it's. I
never said that
Yeah,
once.
I never. That's one thing I wanted
Yeah.
to address so bad. It's like, we're not all perfect, and truly, like what people respect is it's not the fact that you're perfect. It's, are you gonna be like, do you have integrity, and are you accountable for when you make a mistake? Are you responsible enough to, like, hey, I messed up, my fault.
And that's the perfect response, because realistically, as a Christian, we're not called to be perfect, and it's written
Yeah.
all over the Bible that
Yeah.
you will not be perfect. All the people in the Bible, as great as they were, still had problems, had to repent.
Yeah.
But the key factor of a righteous person, right?
Yeah.
It's like, take a scenario, I'm Christian, you're my non-Christian coworker,
Yeah.
right? I do something wrong,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, you bring it up to me. Instead of responding how the world's expecting you to respond and like lash out on John,
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what, John, you're right.
Yeah.
Let me pick up the phone and call this guy.
Yeah.
Explain to him that like we need to do something different and
Yeah.
make it right with them. And like,
Sometimes
I really
you can't-
do appreciate you
Yeah.
letting me know like that I messed up.
Yeah.
When you give somebody that response,
Yeah.
they're like,
You remember my
What?
situation at work
Yeah.
like a month ago, like a month and a half? I messed up and I was so frustrated with what was going on. Like I was so frustrated
yeah,
and I messed up. But then like I asked the Holy Spirit, like, what's going on? Please reveal.
Yeah.
He revealed to me, and instantly I went on like apologizing. And you'll hear people, oh, apologies. You got, bro, put it this way, I don't care what people think anymore. Like,
Yeah.
because as much as like I don't and I try not to, it still gets there. But I really don't care because I know where my heart is and like
Right.
how hard I strive to be a great, like a good person.
yeah,
But like, yeah, I went on. I apologized to everyone that like I upset or I hurt and I did wrong. It was crazy. You saw the response. Like I showed you
yeah,
what my higher up said, and he was just like shocked and dumbfounded. Like, dang. Like, first of all, you're how old?
yeah.
And you came to this realization that fast? Like, I appreciate that. And it was like, God saved me off of that. Like, I didn't get no trouble, no nothing. He was just like, it seems like off of your genuine response and addressing everything, you understand what happened. And I think we can move forward from this. And just left it there.
It's
And
the
I was
truth,
like,
bro.
wow. And I was like, thank you, God. Because I was, it was like, all right, I messed up. And it's just like, just being humble, like, I messed up. And it's so, shout out to people that are that humble as well and realize, like, not everyone's perfect. But the fact I see you striving to, one, correct a mistake you made, and then to move forward from it. And it was just like, it's one of those, like, when God works through you, like, when you let him work through you, he will restore you even when you mess up. And that's why Proverbs also says, a righteous man stumbles 7 times and gets back up.
Yep,
But a wicked person stumbles once, they're done.
yep.
But they don't understand that. But now let's tie it into scripture and where we're at. So we go to Ecclesiastes 3, and the reason we're bringing this up is like, me and you are literally going through seasons, and we're seeing the seasons.
Yeah,
And it's incredible. But it starts off in chapter 3. A season is set for everything. A time for every experience under heaven. A time for being born and a time for dying. A time for planting and a time for uprooting the planted. A time for killing and a time for healing. A time for tearing down and a time for building up. A time for crying and a time for laughing. A time for wailing and a time for dancing. A time for throwing stones and a time for gathering stones. A time for embracing and a time for shunning embraces. A time for seeking and a time for losing. A time for keeping and a time for discarding. A time for reaping and a time for sowing. A time for silence and a time for speaking. A time for loving and a time for hating. A time for war and a time for peace. What value then can the man of affairs get from what he earns? I observe the business that God gave man to be concerned with. He brings everything to pass precisely at its time. He also puts eternity in their mind, but without man ever guessing from first to last all the things that God brings to pass. Thus, I realize that the only worthwhile thing there is for them is to enjoy themselves and do what is good in their lifetime. Also, that whenever a man does eat and drink and get enjoyment out of his wealth, it is a gift from God. I realize too that whatever God has brought to pass will reoccur evermore. Nothing can be added to it and nothing can be taken from it. And God has brought to pass that man revere him. What is occurring occurred long since, and what is occurred long since. And God seeks the pursued, and indeed I have observed the sun. Alongside justice, there is wickedness. Alongside righteousness, there is wickedness. I mused, God will doom both righteous and wicked, for there is a time for every experience and for every happening. So I decided as regard men to disassociate them from the divine beings and to face the fact that they are beasts. For in respect of the faith of man and the faith of beasts, they have one and the same fate. As the one dies, so dies the other, and both have the same life breath. Man has no superiority over beast, since both amount to nothing. Both go to the same place, both come from dust and return to dust. Who knows if a man's life breath does rise upward, and if a beast's breath does sink down into the earth? I saw that there is nothing better for a man to enjoy his possessions, since that is his portion. For who can enable him to see what will happen afterward? And like what I got from that, the many times I read it, especially today, is what we said with the principles. Live with integrity to God's words.
Yep.
Be accountable to what like your for your actions to what God says. Love and just enjoy. No need to try to figure out everything. Once you accept like this is the portion God's given me in my life, that's when you see amazing things happening. Because for me and you, like with our situations the past like couple of months, and everyone that's listening, we all have situations and circumstances. We could have easily thrown the towel, and we did get frustrated at times. But then you would uplift me, Freddie would uplift me, we would uplift each other. And I want to say it's gotten to a point for us, like, we're at that point, like, all right, bro, like, I don't get to pick, like, my life per se. I can pick if it's going to be enjoyable, if I just hold myself accountable, have integrity to God's words, and follow him. That's the only thing I can do. Yeah. Everything else, I can't really pick. That's God who does that for me.
And that's a truth, and it kind of goes back to like, I feel like this has been a topic of conversation with like not only us but a few other people in my life as of recently, is when you get to the point of understanding that this moment that we're living in, life is always going to do life things. Mm-hmm. So life is not going to stop. So what it is it's this verse removes blind sides.
Yeah.
It's there's going to be a time where you're sick. There's going to be a time when you're healthy. There's going to be a time when you're poor. There's going to be a time when you're wealthy. So what it does is it breaks everything down. Mm-hmm. So you're not getting blindsided with everything. But what it is also is a word of encouragement.
Yeah.
Because I may be in my season of I'm poor right now.
Yeah.
But I know that there's going to be a season where I'm going to reap.
Yeah.
And that's the way I started looking at things. And like, I used to get so mad at my dad because I didn't understand that the wisdom my father was giving me at the time. So I would get irritated with him.
Yeah.
Because like, one thing that was very interesting about my brother and I growing up, even when we were like little boys, the level of frustration that my brother and I would get was over the top. Not meaning like between him and I, but because like, and I've thought about this a lot and I've prayed about it a lot because I thought that I had certain problems, because you describe a symptom, they're going to give you
X, Y, and Z.
A label. Here's a prescription that you need. And what God's revealed to me through that prayer and time and meditation to get the answer back from God is my frustration was not being able to articulate what was going on, how I was feeling, and being able to communicate effectively because of my age.
Yeah.
But my dad's response was, all through growing up, from being a little boy to even my age now.
Yeah.
But I'm finally to the point where I understand it, and it is this verse to a T. my dad would stand there, he would hear us out, and he would just go, his hands would go down, and he would literally just be, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And like, is it gonna, and he used to say it too, because like, shout out to my dad. My dad made my brother and I warriors. Because he would always be like,
Tough
it is
luck.
what it is.
Yeah.
But it's not going to knock you down.
No.
Like, we're Larsons. We get through this.
Yeah.
We figure it out. And like, now, as a young man, like, I understand that. Because it's like, if you get to the point of where he's not suggesting when life does life things,
Give up.
you become numb.
No.
And you're just accepting of it. It's more so you can't deny this reality that you're going through.
It happens for a reason.
But what is the solution? What is it that we're going to do from this point on that's going to help you get through it? And now that I use that mindset, realistically nothing phases me. All that I have, because we are emotional beings,
Yeah.
I have an emotional period.
Yeah.
But like, being an early teen, I went through years, bro. Like, the devil took years from my life over something that happened through a conversation that rubbed me sideways.
Yeah.
And I let it take years away from my life.
Yeah.
But now I'm so grateful by God. I may be potentially having like a day max.
Yeah. And then you get over it.
And you're just like, you wake up the next day and you're like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
it
okay,
happens.
we just know that I have to get through this and like move on. But I also believe that time span gets shorter based on your wholehearted trust
You got.
in God.
Well, because like from what you're saying, we've come to a point like where we've realized we've been through so much at such a young age, and again, there's been people that have been through more.
Yeah.
But when I say we've been through so much at such a young age with God,
Yep.
because the highs and lows, we both got kicked out of an apartment.
Yep.
Yeah, God still took care of us. It's like no matter the situation, if you have faith and trust in God, He's gonna take care of you. Yep. And I wanted to bring it back to the New Testament in Matthew 6, where 6 verse 25, Jesus says, "This is why I tell you not to worry about everyday life, whether you have enough food or drink, enough clothes to wear. Isn't life more than food and your body more than clothing? Look at the birds. They don't plant or harvest or store foods in the barns, for your heavenly Father feeds them. And aren't you far more valuable to them than they are? To him than they are? Can all your worries add a single moment to your life? And why worry about your clothing? Look at the lilies of the field and how they grow. They don't work or make clothing, yet Solomon in all his glory was not dressed as beautifully as they are. And if God cares so wonderfully for wildflowers that are here today and thrown into the fire tomorrow, He will certainly take care of you. Why do you have so little faith? So don't worry about these things saying, what will we eat? What will we drink? What will we wear? These things dominate the thoughts of unbelievers. Now let me actually change the questions itself. How am I going to pay my bill?
Yep.
God, I can't, like, you take this person's my everything. What am I going to do?
I'll show you. You can live without him. That's
And
what
it,
he's gonna
literally,
do. God.
and notice how Jesus is saying,
It's the truth, bro.
these things dominate the thoughts of unbelievers. And whenever we start living in our flesh carnal and we're like anxious, we're no longer living the fruits of the Spirit. That's how it is. Like, we become unbelievers. But it says, but your heavenly Father already knows all your needs. And sometimes God does that to like show you, like, you need me. You can't do it by yourself.
Hey, and that is 100% the truth, because in my most uncertain season in life, God showed out in the most
Amazing
unpredictable, amazing ways as possible. And I never once went out with something I need. And I need to do a clarification on this. God will always provide you with what you need,
Not what you want.
not what you want.
Yeah.
And
Because
I'm just having a
typically,
humbling moment right now because it's just a
put it
reality
this way.
thinking about it.
typically what we want, we're not humble enough to have that yet.
No.
That's why he doesn't give us what we want all the time. If he does give it to you, you're humble. You've earned, like, he's showing you, like, all right, your heart's in the right place. If you don't get what you want, one, either it's going to destroy you and he knows that that's bad for you, or two, you're not ready for that blessing yet. Like, you're just not. Your heart's not in the right place. But, and then you just continue. It's like, seek the kingdom of God above all else and live righteously, and he will give you everything you need, like we just said. So don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring its own worries.
Yep.
Today's trouble is enough for today. And during my best season, honestly, like, that I've had so far in my life, which was from what, like October to December, I literally lived that. I was so consistent on that, but I deviated.
Yeah.
Because then I started, like, pressure started mounting me at work. Like, I was doing so well at work. Like, I would tell him, like, no, bro, I'm not going to worry about tomorrow. I don't know. Because what if I'm not alive tomorrow? And I would tell him that all the time. They're like, all right. And it got to a point, like, just leave John and his God alone. Like, they got it. Like,
Yeah.
And it was like, because I stayed by that. And then now I'm getting back into that where it's just like, hey, I'm working my butt off. I'm leaving it all. What I need to do today, I'm doing it today. When tomorrow comes, we'll do that. If I can prepare early for tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and do that. But I will wait for tomorrow to come, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You can be prepared, do all this thing for tomorrow.
Meeting gets canceled.
Meeting gets canceled. And that's what happened to me yesterday. Yeah. But it was perfect because I was still, like, prepared. And it got canceled. And I was like, cool. Understood. Like, life happens. We get into the meeting today. Fantastic meeting. I'm like, wow, thank you, God.
Yeah.
But then, like, to bounce off of what Jesus said, you go back to Ecclesiastes, what we just read, and it says in verse 11 or verse 12, thus I realize that the only worthwhile thing there is for them is to enjoy themselves and do what is good in their lifetime. Also, that whenever a man does drink and eat and get enjoyment out of all of his wealth, it is a gift from God. So it's already telling us, like, don't worry about all of that. The only, like, even the enjoyment you're going to get out of life is from God. Yeah. So, like, why are we chasing all these things? Like, yes, we will want somewhere to live. We want nice things. But at the end of the day, that's, like, secondary.
Well, and that's what maturity starts stepping in and playing a role in your life is realizing that it's not all about the highlights.
Yeah.
Like, and like something that Kobe said to me, not to me, but like in a video.
No, he
like,
said to you, bro.
Me,
he talked to you, bro.
Me, bro, be jealous. I got Mamba in my mind. No, but he did say it to me. Anyways, is the key thing I took away from him. The best thing is the process, because it's like we can complain and gripe and cry about all the things that are happening, but when we get grandchildren and like younger people around us to mentor, those are gonna be our glory days.
Yeah.
Like, remember when I used to wake up, I used to grind, and then I would go to the gym, and then I would do all this.
You played basketball, right?
Yeah.
Like, you played organized basketball.
Yeah.
Think about this. Anytime you talk with your teammates, you only talk about, like, the grind. Like, and it's so much enjoyment when you're talking about it, even though at that moment it may have sucked.
Yeah.
But you built such a great bond with people. And then even the part that sucked, you laughed about it. Yeah. Because you went through it.
With
and you
other people,
And it's like, dog, you remember when coach, like, bro, I would talk, like, if I hop on the phone with one of my teammates, bro, we'll talk about, like, say my last year playing football, bro. Oh my gosh. We could talk about the time that coach almost kicked me off the team because I couldn't swim, bro. And it was just so funny seeing me come back into the locker room. Everyone's like, John, how was it? Everyone's recording on Snapchat. Yeah. I'm like, bro, what you mean, how was it? Man, coach finna kick me off the team because I couldn't swim. Or like, even the arguments you'd have with teammates, like, bro, you remember when blah, 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 we used to argue about this? or like after you work so hard in the off season or whatever, and you guys went out to go like celebrate, like party, like you will remember that classroom, like you remember punishments, and it was like that was part of the journey. Like you remember all those things. Like you remember at the game when we cramped up and this happened. It's like it's so much memories. Everyone's laughing. You remember that, but like if you skip past that, there's no fun. Like imagine we became billionaires literally tomorrow. There's not much we can talk about. Like,
oh, it'd be game over. I'm just gonna be honest with you and Freddie, dog.
No, it'd be game over. But it would be so quick though, because there's you don't relive that. Like there's nothing there. It's a cut shot. Like,
I get what you're saying.
The experience got cut short. And then if somebody was to ask you, how did you go about it? You don't have the memories to tell them, because it's the memories that hits for people and how you got it. Like, yeah, you know, I became a millionaire overnight. I won the lottery, and it's like, oh, cool, that happened. There it is. Like, it's done. But if you could tell your whole life story about how you became a billionaire, man, I went through this. I had this. About relationships. I had to learn about this with business. Oh my God, like God plays such a big role. He's the reason this happened, because this and this happens. Then it's like you become such. You remember the Dos Equis? That's the name of that. The most interesting man in the world. What do you want to be? You know what I mean? Do you want to be the most interesting man in the world, or do you just want to be another, like, whatever? Like, think about Joseph's story. Why is his story so great?
Because he endured hardship. Yeah,
and it's the whole journey that he had to go through, like, with his brothers. He gets sold into slavery. Now he's with Potiphar. Balls out with Potiphar. Potiphar's wife starts, oh my gosh, she becomes a cougar. Oh my gosh, I love you. And then now he's like, he has to deal with that. And imagine a real life like Joseph in our day and age telling us his story. Like, I went through this. It's like, bro, what? And it's like,
hey, but that's what I feel like you and I are to the people that were around, dog. Because it's like half of the things,
bro,
that like we explained to them that we went through. They're just like, what? And
it's so crazy. Like, it's interesting because of my last job. Like, bro, I worked with Hall of Fame NFL players.
Yeah.
Like I was cool. Like Ray Lewis is like really like uncle to me, bro. But when I tell that to people, they're like,
well, come on, bro.
Then I show them pictures, and it's like, oh, yeah, I have a signed Ray Lewis jersey at home. Like, that's really like Like, if Ray Lewis was to walk by me, he would know me by name. Like
what's up, dog?
And then, like other Hall of Famers. But then like people be like, what? How old are you? How did you even do that? It's like, bro, God bless me. Like, he put me in that. Like, he put me there. Like, I have like people, like, if somebody was to hack into my phone, please don't. But like, if somebody was to hack into my phone, you would have a bunch of like celebrity, like athletes numbers on there. Like, and it's like, whoa, like, but
and people, and instead of like accepting that, they just get mad. But it's like, and I feel like this is the thing they don't understand though. Is like, it didn't all come easy.
No, there was hardships.
And it's like, if you, and I'm not saying this in a way of saying like John and I are better than anybody, but it's like,
bro,
God specifically places burdens based on what you're able to handle. And like some of the burdens that like I know personally, some of the burdens that I've gone through, not saying that I'm better than anybody else, because God did carry me through these circumstances, but it would have crippled and taken certain people out.
Bro, it's not even what you're able to, sometimes what you're willing to.
Yeah.
Because think about the Israelites when they left Egypt and then they were in the wilderness. You know, God said, I can make it much easier. He purposely put them in the wilderness to refine them. And because they didn't want to be accountable, be responsible, work with integrity, and just be patient with God to like, okay, God, what do you want us? They lost out. He said, nah, I'm going to make y'all walk around till that generation dies. Once y'all are dead and all your philosophies are gone, then I'll bring you to the promised land. And it's like, okay, then, like
it's like that.
Yeah, it's like one of those, like, you have to be willing, because we've seen so many people give up.
Yeah, like, and I've seen people give up right
at the
next to,
breakthrough.
yeah, like
Right
you're
at
gonna
the
get
breakthrough.
breakthrough and then they just quit.
It's like you're almost there.
Yeah.
You're seeing it. Oh, I can't do it.
Dude, the most
Oh,
hurtful image you could see is like, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen it because of like social media, is like the miner, and he's dug his tunnel like all the way right here, and he's like one pitchfork swing against all the diamonds,
bruh.
and gives up, and then some like on the underneath one, it's like some other person picks up where he left off and
then
swings one, boom, strikes gold.
Because okay, there's a famous, I guess you could say, salesperson, like speaker, Zig Ziglar. He talks about like oil or even water, like,
Yeah.
or we'll say oil. You just be digging for oil, and you're almost there, and then you give up, walk away. And just like it's the same
Yeah.
thing with the diamonds.
Just
And if
hit it.
somebody else just comes in, boop, billionaire.
Yeah.
And it's like, then now you're even more frustrated.
You're salty, dog,
You
yeah.
resent everything. And it's, God, it's your fault. It's
I did
this,
all
it's
this,
that.
and they got all the credit.
Yeah, and it's like, bro, if you were just patient, just kept going, like, I got you. And I'll say, like, that's one thing, like, remember my old job, they laughed at me for this, too. They said, what is one, I guess, what is one trait that you have or you're blessed with? I said grit. And when I meant grit, it was like, like perseverance.
yeah.
And they laughed. They're like, how do you have grit? You have highs and lows and this and this. And in my head, it's like, because no matter what happens, I'm going to come back.
Going, yeah.
I'm going to come back and I'm going to keep going. Yeah, I could cry myself to sleep. I can be, oh man, where did I mess up? I'm going to come back the next day and keep working. And it was like, they laughed at me. And I did it every time. And then now, like, why am I at where I'm at? Like, even with
because of
God,
that, yeah.
it's because of that. Like, no matter how hard it gets, man, yeah, I'm gonna get on my knees. God, what happened? Like, what am I doing wrong? And I learned to never blame God. So to this day, like, I don't blame God for anything.
Yeah.
I know all happens for a reason. Only question I ask is like, God, like, what do you want me to learn? Why is this happening? Like, please, like, ease my heart.
Explain it to me. And it's
And He will.
very, very true what you're saying when it comes to that character trait, due to the fact that, like, from my experience of listening to a lot of people around me, if they would have had perseverance and understand, like, and I almost want to say it like this: perseverance should be a requirement in your life.
Yeah.
Like, and I had to accept that years back, but that was a huge game changer for me, because, like, that literally means if you don't have perseverance, or I like that you use the word grit, because, like, everybody nowadays, if they've spent 1 year at a job, oh man, they've been there forever. But it's like, you're gonna get to the point where you're 5 years at the same company,
Yeah.
10 years at the same company, 15 years at the same company. And to get to that point, it takes perseverance and grit.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be all home runs and grand slams. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna have some moments where, like, you're gonna mess up and you're gonna be, but, like, when you have perseverance and grit, you come back, like John's saying, the next day, and it's not like you don't acknowledge the bad thing that
No.
happened,
Yeah.
but you're changing. Like, you're changing and you're getting better and you're pushing forward. And, dude, think about it in the grand scheme of, like, all the information that we have.
Yeah.
Anybody that has amounted to anything, including Jesus. Think
Yeah.
about Jesus. Jesus he had every excuse, bro, and the power to just be like, you know what, yo, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But he persevered his mission all the way to the cross of being crucified to save us. If that isn't a message that, like, you're going to have to push through pain, and I don't necessarily like the message that's going out recently is like, oh, I like it when hardships in my life come in and I could use the pain to motivate you. That's
No. That's
whatever, dude. Like, because motivation could fade.
Yeah.
But perseverance,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you're
Yeah.
motivated or not. You're gonna push through it. You're gonna deal with the problems. But during that process of perseverance, what's happening, and I explained this to my buddy the other day, right? In construction, you either ask somebody when you first meet them if you don't know, like, because like now I'm in a lot of meetings and people wear the shirt, so it's like, oh, they do electrical or whatever.
Yeah.
But like on the site, if you're just passing by, you're like, oh, what's your trade or what's your discipline?
Yeah.
And it's like, I never really understood why you wouldn't refer to it as just a trade and sometimes it's a discipline. And then I came to learn through like watching videos and understanding, right? Discipline, the reason why it's asked that way, oh, what's your discipline?
Yeah.
It is because no matter how you feel or what's going on in your life,
You gotta be there.
you show up. And I do plumbing. That is my
Yeah.
discipline. And I do plumbing every single day like I love it. That's why they call it a discipline,
First
bro.
of all, big ups. Like, I always have so much respect for blue collar workers.
Hell yeah.
Because no matter what they go through, these guys are gonna be there the next day. And thank God, like, I started, like, that was the first
Those are the
profession I
real
started.
superheroes, bro.
Like, that was, like, thank God that's where I first started. But then also, like, my family, like, how they raised me, like, throughout it all, I always had to be there. Like, if I leave somewhere, okay, just know, like, I want to be completely honest. If I leave somewhere, that means, like, 99% of people that think would not be there for that long.
No.
If I leave something. The amount of times I've heard people be like, bro, I don't know how you stayed there for that long. Like, my last year playing football, all my teammates would tell you, like, bro, yeah, John went through a lot of BS for no reason. My last job, I had people like, bro, I don't even know how you're still here. Like,
Yeah.
and then it just got to a point, like, it was disrespectful beyond me. Like, now you're disrespecting God.
Yeah.
I can't do that. You can disrespect me all you want, and I'm going to keep coming back. But it's like, you have to, yeah, that's called thick skin.
Yeah. And you have to develop that. And like, I was literally one of the most sensitive people, bro.
Yeah.
Just gonna be flat out honest with you. And it wasn't until
True, I was too.
I was in sober living and I was a house manager. And like, due to all the stress and the things I was being exposed to and the things I was having to deal with, I was carrying people's burdens.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be like, say, I'm not even gonna put this on you, but like, say we have Billy Bob here, and Billy
Yeah.
Bob was in my house, and like, I'm the house manager. And dude, you have to understand, at the time of me being a sober living manager, I was 23, 24 years old, and then the other people in my house were either in their mid 30s, early 40s.
Yeah.
But the owner of the company saw whatever he saw in me and saw that I had integrity and was doing things, so he put me into this position. And this is where it ties into pride and ego as well, but also care. Was like, Billy Bob decides to go out and start using again.
Oh, man.
And it's like, me being the sensitive person that I was and having the care, I would take it personal. And then it was, dude, it got to the point, it would wear on me. But dude, it got to the point where like, I literally showed up to the office one day and I was covered in head to toe of hives. Like, I was under so much stress.
Yeah.
Of like not being able to
help these people
process, and I was feeling like it was all my fault. I literally broke out from head to toe in hives.
Yeah.
To the point of where I walked into CVS and like, I just talked to the pharmacist guy, and like, I was so embarrassed. I was like completely covered up.
Yeah.
And like, I took it out and I'm like, dude, I thought I was having an allergic reaction to something. I'm like, dude, man, what did I eat? Like this and that. And he's like, oh no, dude, those are stress hives because they're like plateauing. And he knew what it was. He was like, you need to take Benadryl and like go to bed. But where I was getting with that is like, my boss saw that. And again, I wasn't mature enough to accept it in the time because I was still operating pride and ego. He told me, Cameron, you're doing everything right, but you need to develop thick skin.
Yeah.
People are going to say what they're going to say. People are going to do what they're going to do. They're going to blame things on you. They're going to try to bring you down when you're on your way up.
Yeah.
They're going to kick you when you're down and this and that. but you just got to get to the point of where you have rhinoceros skin.
Yeah.
It just, whatever, I'm going to do me.
Yeah.
And it's like, it wasn't, and that's what I feel like when you and I say, like, I just don't care what people think anymore. It's not an ignorant and being rude. It's having rhinoceros skin.
Yeah.
And like understanding that, like, and it takes time.
Yeah.
Like that's what, like, I want to tell you guys is it takes time sitting in God's word, putting in the time and the work, and sitting in a room by yourself, having a conversation with yourself, figuring yourself out, will develop thick skin.
Having a convo with God. Yeah. You read the scripture and let God tell you who you are. Yeah. Then, like, no one can shake you. Because I've seen your situations the past couple of weeks, and it could have been easy for you. Because I know many people who would have taken time off in your situation. Yeah. I need some time to myself. I gotta... Every day. Hit me up, bro. Hey, how you doing, bro? I'm doing good. How about you? I'm doing good. We'll check up midday. Bro, what's up? How's work?
It's good.
And sometimes it may not even be the best to be like, like, it's tough. This is what I'm going through, but we gonna keep pushing. Yeah. And then it's like God will use me like to encourage you. And then it's like, all right, cool. And then as days go by, but I'm feeling great. Let's go, John. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling it too. Let's go.
No days off, baby.
Yeah, and it's like one of those. And in my situation, oh man, it could have been easy to just throw a towel. But it was like every day, and quickly though.
Hey, but I have to say this, so like, and now I ask you, preface this with the question. Do you feel like going to work and showing up every day was a benefit to handling the current life curveball that was thrown at you?
Yeah. Yes.
Explain that though to them.
Because, okay, with my situation, I'm not gonna go into it, but it happened. A week ago?
We'll just say life got hard.
Life got hard. It would be very easy for me to just, I need time off, I need this, I need that, take a bunch of time off, and then now just seep into like negativity. Yep. And then also, then depression starts to hit. And then all these things that God's been helping me build up, I let it all just come crashing down, and then I will probably have to restart. Yep. Just because I let a circumstance dictate my life. And it was like, no, let me go to work the next day. I went to work the next day, and it was tough. But then God blessed me with the right people in my life now. I reach out to Cameron. Bro, what's up, man? Like, hey, this is how I'm feeling, but I'm going to keep working. I just need to figure it out. I'm reading the word. Shoot, I took time out. Like, I took time myself in the aspect of once I was done with work, everything was done. I try to find something that would uplift me. Yep. So now I'm watching my YouTube, like funny people that I like to watch, walking. That one day you told me go out and walk. I was like, I needed that. It was a beautiful day. Man, hit me up, go out and walk. I go out and walk. If something else was to come in my mind, I'd also reach out to Freddie. Freddie would answer that, and he'd uplift me. Reach out to my homegirl, Chanel. Shout out to her. That's my dog. I reached out to her. She would give me what is the word? A perspective. Yeah. I'm like, that's a great perspective. And then day by day. But it was quick though. I'm not gonna lie. How quick everything turned around. And that's something like you need to understand between having a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. A fixed mindset, you think like this is all you are in life and you can never surpass that. And this is where you're at. Growth mindset means that you have no ceiling. Your ceiling is when you decide to stop. Yep. Someone with the growth and a fixed mindset person can both go through the same situation. A fixed mindset person would stop and be like, yeah, that's all I am. And you would stay here. Matter of fact, you would regress. Depression would hit. Everything will come like just falling, crumbling under. Whereas someone with a growth mindset will understand what we just read. There's a season for everything. And when you understand that, it's okay, this is just the season. We just go keep going through it. And then that's where faith comes in too. God, this happened for a reason. If you please teach me, what did you want me to learn from this? Because I don't want to go through the same problems over and over again. Please teach me so I know how to handle maneuver from this. And he's going to teach you, because I'm pretty sure a lot of my dreams were like, as him teaching me. And then the last dream yesterday, I think he was like, all right, we're going to finally take you out of this same repetitive pattern. Now we're going to upgrade you to the next level. But it's like doing all, like consistently going to work, doing the things you know you have to do, even when you don't want to, is going to propel you so much further in life. Because when you're finally out of that season, imagine where you're at now. Like, you kept doing the same work. Like,
well, listen to this though. Like, now take the perspective of your employer. And I know that your manager knew what was going on with you because you had a conversation. So
yeah.
he now has a background of what's going on in John's personal life. Fully, I'm gonna just say it. Like, if you would have reached out to him like, hey, I need a couple of days to get my mind right.
Yeah.
He'd be like, all right, bro, go for it. Feel better, come back in the office. Completely understood.
Yeah.
My situation was with ownership at my company.
Mm-hmm.
I literally took it upon myself to have a difficult conversation with them, and the conversation went well. So like, I was able to get my point across, but I received a lot of
unnecessary comments.
Well, not only that, let's be realistic about it. I had to hear why they were upset.
Yeah.
And it's understandable. But the difference is my owners no longer have conversations like that with people. They'll have a discussion with the manager, then the manager will come in and soften the blow and deliver it to the employee.
Yeah.
I went in to a 9-round boxing ring match with them, and they beat me up.
Yeah.
Bro, and I'm young, and like, from their perspective, I'm 29 years old.
Yeah.
Right? So I knew they're going to be like, okay, let's watch him. Let's see what he does now.
Yeah.
The next day, woke up, I was literally, this is just full vulnerability. I ain't gonna go to work. Like, this and that, right? But I literally was like, I woke up and like, dude, my alarm clock went off, and that was literally my first thought. Usually it's thank you, God, for waking me up, this and that. It was like, I am not going to work. And then what I had to do, because the easiest way to get out of that mindset is make a physical reaction to it. So what do? You throw the sheets off of yourself and you force yourself to get out of bed. Yeah. And then you make your bed. You seal the deal. When you make that bed, baby.
Yeah, you ain't going back there.
I ain't going back in. But like, what happened is they were expecting me to respond in a certain way, getting bitter, having negative comments to them, being sour, not showing up to work. Honestly, I think they expected me to just like quit, find another job and go. And what did I do the next day? First one in the office. Yep. Made sure that when I saw them, I said hi to them, shook their hand, this and that, handled the things that they addressed for me in the meeting that I needed to cover. Didn't make them chase me for it. No. I literally gave it to them. Yeah. Continued working even harder. And then it's like, what that does, okay, is it allows biblical word to start unveiling in your life. Meaning, God has all these riches and these plans for you. Yeah. Right? But it's up to us and how we handle certain situations in our life to allow those blessings to come. Mm-hmm. What that revealed to my ownership is like, dang, when things get tough with Cam, he's going to show up. Yeah. He's going to show up. He's going to actually be working harder. And his attitude, I can rely on him. Yeah.
His attitude is not going to be crap.
Yeah. And like, dude, that speaks volumes to people, because like, we work in sales. Yeah. Sales realistically boils down to, do I have a solution to somebody's problem? If you have the solution, you're going to make the sale. Now let's transform it into like, we're entrepreneurs. Am I hiring problems to potentially fix a problem, or am I hiring solutions to fix the problem that I'm having.
Yeah.
So you have to be a solution to these people that you work for.
Yeah.
And the reality of the situation that like most people can't even grasp, which is in my mind absurd. It's a privilege to be working for someone.
Yeah. Or
Like,
just to be working. Yeah.
Just to be working in general. So like if you have this mindset, and I had this mindset when I was working minimum wage jobs. Oh, this place ain't ever gonna be nothing without me.
Yeah,
This
me
and
too.
that, I'm holding it
Me too.
down, this and that. Bro, that company's been around for 50 years.
And they gonna be
yeah. If you leave, they're gonna
good
hire
right
somebody
after.
else, and that baby's gonna keep on running.
Yeah.
But the reality is like you have to be so grateful that this person is allowing you the opportunity to work for them, and you are not the boss. Like,
yeah,
I have
learned,
to say that.
I learned that, bro. I learned that my last job. Like, yeah, bro.
This is not same with me. But it's like, you're not the boss. You're not the person that's invented the wheel of how this company works. And you are a cog in the wheel that makes it function. So it's, you have to do your purpose and function. But within where I'm getting at with this, right, is when you have that perspective of like, I understand my role at this company. I understand how I'm benefiting to them. How could I prove it to them? I'm going to show up. I'm going to do my function.
Yeah.
Because the reality of it is work is 8 hours a day, right? It's not 24 hours a day. So you still have time for you. So I don't want to hear this. I can't be working a full-time job. Yes, you can. And you will still have time to do the things that you want to do. But just it can't be all the time. Welcome to real life.
And guess what? If you work hard enough, you work wise enough, you're going to get to a point that it's not 8 hours a day.
No.
It becomes less.
It's
like,
less.
Shout out to Carlos for teaching me this. Like, you get to a point where you are going to overwork yourself and get paid pennies. And just out of the blue, there's going to be a moment where you work less and you get overpaid.
Yep.
And it's like, wow, like, and that's true. Like, it happens.
You
but
have to
there's
put
stages.
in the time, yeah.
Yeah, you have to put in the time. Like, and that's why at your youth, you have a lot of energy. Use it. Use it responsibly. It doesn't mean slave yourself. It doesn't mean kill yourself for wealth. No, it means whatever you do it with all your might. Like, do it with all your heart, all your soul.
And no matter where you're at, learn.
Yeah.
Just learn how. Bro, what I did when I was working retail, right? How is this place making money? So I'd be working there.
Yeah.
And like, instead of just like stocking the shelves and putting things away and just doing, I would be able, the job was so mindless, I would be able to go through the motions in my mind and be somewhere else. So then that's when I started thinking, oh, how is this place making money? Like, what are they doing? What makes people attracted to coming into there? You start getting answers to these questions and you're like, bro, it's really not that hard. Like, they're providing a nice place and environment for people to come.
Yeah.
People always come here because we always have what they want. We're never out. Everything's shelved. And like, that was a crazy thing learning in retail. Like, they made us do like, for training, like psychology studies.
Yeah.
And bro, they got stores figured out, dog.
Oh yeah, how
like,
they like even how they set up the store with
and
the front
keeping
facing.
everything shelved.
Yeah.
Like, and like,
there's a science to it. There's a science to it, bro.
There's literally literally figured it out that if a person walks into a store and everything is completely organized, their mind, whether they want to buy something or not, will start putting things in their bags because they want to mess it up. Like, think about that. Like, they figured that out. But like, what I'm trying to get at is like, you can learn things in these menial jobs that you feel like you have in this moment that'll pay off in the long run because you're taking their experience and now you could brand it as your own with what God potentially has for you down the line. Or you could be learning something, right?
Yeah.
And then God moves you into another place and it's literally the solution that this company's been looking for.
Yeah.
And it's being Joseph. It's doing whatever circumstance in life that God has you in to the best of your abilities with a grateful heart, with a good attitude.
Yeah.
You're not resentful. You're appreciative.
You have,
God will exalt you, bro.
and the thing is, like,
And this goes back to seasons.
you just got to make it fun too.
Yeah.
Like, you have to find a way to make it fun.
Yeah.
When I worked at Huntington Surfer Sport, for example, they put me, I first started off, it was seasonal. I was working the sidewalk. And then I made it fun in the aspect of, if a customer would mess up the clothes, I'm there, like, as soon as they're gone, I'm about to fold it. I'm about to, and then you'll see a customer see me do it, and then now they want to go look at it.
Yeah.
And I was getting sales off of me, like,
touching and moving.
yeah,
things,
just like purposely, like, oh, you messed it up, I'm about to fix it.
Yeah.
And then it became fun for me because I was like, how am I gonna pass time?
I'm here, baby.
Yeah, so I do that, and then I did so well. They're like, oh, John, can you close for us? And then sometimes open. So I would close like 11 p.m., drive it home, get home at 12. Now I have to wake up. I'm up at 4 a.m., drive back to the store to open. But it was cool. They put me in the shoe section.
Yeah.
So it's typically sandals and shoes. And then now it got to a point, like, this is how I first started my sales without really thinking. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, so what are you guys looking for? Be like, oh, the most comfortable sandals. I was like, are you looking for swag? Or are you looking for, or are you, because I would literally tell the parents, like, you want that swag, like, yeah, like your kids are gonna be hip with you, or do you want just like comfortability?
Yeah.
And then they'd tell me, and then because of me asking customers when they tried on shoes, like, or sandals, like, what was more comfortable to you, I could make a recommendation.
Yeah, because they tell you, yeah.
And I started making sales like crazy in the shoes. And then they were like, all right, John, we trust you enough. You've been doing well, because I couldn't do much because I started playing football. So my schedule was tough. They were like, all right, we trust you in the back room. So now in the back room, like, bro, you have access to everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was like, whoa, like, how did I just get upgraded from seasonal to from sidewalk to now, like, you guys trust me, work Saturdays and Sundays, like, after games or on Sundays, like, I'm here now. I was like, that's dope. And it was like, just things like that. How do you make it fun? Home Depot, for me, Home Depot was fun. Like, how am I going to get these deliveries out fast? Because I'm trying to drive out of here. I don't.
Yeah,
and then if I'm in a store, because don't ask me about plumbing, bro. I'm not a plumber. Like, so it's like, how could I play that? And it was like, all right, let me get certified on the forklifts.
Yeah.
I got forklift certified, everything. So now I'm around the store, like, moving stuff.
Yeah.
Woo! Like, it's just like, you have to make it fun. And then now where I'm at, it's like, all right, how am I gonna book the most meetings? And I was like, oh, it's pretty easy if I do it this way. I'm being very transparent with the customer. I told you, it's got to a point now. My manager told me, John, all right, what you're doing every week is good enough. Let's just chill, we're good. Yeah. We're good. I'm like, wow, like, I'm having fun, bro. like, and then, like, also, like, what else do I do? Put on a sermon. I'll put on a podcast, put on a video. So while I'm watching, I'm dialing, I'm making calls, maintenance, looking at all these things. It's like, it makes it fun. And then time starts flying by.
Yeah.
Business is booming. Your pipeline, your funnel's growing. And it's like, wherever you're at, how do you make it fun? Even coaching kids.
What you said is the key point, though. Is once you figure out how to make these things fun while you're enjoying it, realistically, people have all the options in the world now because of the internet to buy something.
Yeah.
But what it's coming down to in this current moment is people still like people.
Duh.
So your attitude really is the game changer. You have to, and it's not being fake or corny.
No, they
you
know
have
it.
to love what you do and know that, like, you're enjoying it. Just being that type of genuine is going to attract people to you, because it's like, bro, and I'm sure you understand this, you have to make calls every once in a while. Sometimes you're the only person that this person's talked to, because now everybody emails. So he's just firing off emails, and you call him, you're like, hey, what's up? Like this and that. And you get them all hyped up. Bro, they ain't ever going to go anywhere else, because they're like, dude, John's my man. Like, this and that. It's just the truth.
Bro, I'm not going to lie. Like, I think that's when I first came in. That's what changed the landscape, like, for me. Like, the fact that people heard me on the phone, would have a virtual meeting, and then I would drop into their office. It threw them off. I remember one of my favorite customers to work. I'm no longer managing that account because I moved territories. I dropped by during their Christmas party that they had before they were going to leave. just to drop off donuts. Thank you for business. I always do this for anyone I work
Yeah.
with, even though I didn't get a sale off of you. I'm just managing the account now.
Yeah.
Dropped off donuts. All I heard from and mind you, the whole company's there. The
Yeah.
CEOs, I never met them. Like the executives, never met them. Just the lady who really does everything.
Yeah.
I drop it off. Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure. You guys have a fantastic one. As I'm walking off, all I hear from I know it's the CEO too,
Yeah.
because I finally met him after. He was like, "Who the heck is that guy?"
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Oh, that's our
Right,
guy."
right, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, "I freaking like him." You see how he just came in here confident?
Yeah.
Didn't ask for nothing, and it just walked off. I hear it as I'm walking off. I'm just laughing like, yeah, that's me.
That's me.
And I
What's
just keep
up?
going.
Yeah.
And it's like, when I left, oh man, no, not John. And it's like, because it's like, finally you have someone
Yes.
that you've worked with, like, that's like, okay, you're real.
Yeah, people
Bro.
people want to work with real people,
Yeah.
and it's not just sales. Like, you
Anything.
could say you're working your first job while you're going to college, and you work at a smoothie place.
Jamba Juice.
If you smile, engage the customer, have an honest conversation with them, you'll be surprised. That person will come more often than not.
Yeah.
It's because like people are attracted to the person more so than the brand.
Yeah.
And like I had to learn that when I was working at Jimmy John's. When I was managing Jimmy John's,
Yeah.
bro, that job was whack. But I literally
Yeah.
still have people that hit me up that I worked with, because like I was probably like almost 25 at the time,
Yeah.
and like everybody I was working with was 18.
Okay.
So it was like that was the first time I realized, oh dang, I'm not 18, there's an age gap.
Yeah.
So it was like, how could I make this job fun for them?
Yeah.
Right? And it's like they didn't realize it because like they're all still living with mom and dad, but like, bro, this is how I live.
Yeah.
So like I'm always here. But the difference was like when I got to that point, employee retention increased.
Yeah.
Like they didn't want to go anywhere. And then almost every customer that came into the door would be like, "Oh, Cam, what's up?" Like this and that. And
Yeah.
it's like, bro, I'm just a manager at Jimmy John's. But then it
Bro.
made me realize that like your customer service
Yeah.
really does matter, because it's
Yeah.
how you're marketing yourself in this world.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. If anything, what my suggestion to you is when you do have that job and that position, that's your training ground towards where
To build your brand.
when you get
which
to
is
something
yourself.
bigger, yeah,
Like,
you know
build-
how to do it.
That's so one of the accounts, the one that I basically, you could say God used me to save this account for our company.
Yeah.
Big account too. The guy told me when I finally told him like, hey, like I'm not gonna be your guy anymore. I'm moving territories. This is the situation. He told me, he was like, John, I told you this in the beginning, and it's because I liked you. The only reason I stay here is because you have done an exceptional job.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care the brand wherever it is. Remember, you're your own brand. Because you can go to your competitor and you call me, I will make that switch, no hesitation.
Yeah, because nobody does it anymore, bro.
And yeah, he was like, you're your own brand. And it was like, do you know how easy business is right now? Like no cap. Like as a salesperson, sorry, like now but this is still biblical though.
It's a truth.
Business
bro.
is so easy. Why? Just answer the question that they ask you
Get back to
and
that.
make it
Yeah.
as simple as possible. Break everything down they ask you and then get back to them at a reasonable time.
Yep. And
And if
follow
you-
up with them.
If you
like,
make a
whatever,
mistake, acknowledge it. My bad. Let me fix it. If somebody else makes a mistake, rather than blame them, I got you. Let me fix it.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, dang, like I finally could trust somebody. And
Well,
they don't
not-
have to deal with it.
And then, like another thing that like, and I'm sure you understand this too, but like another thing that I've learned through like being humble and being who God's created us to be, which is a helper and an assister.
Yeah.
Right. Is like what I do at my job, and like people, I understand I'm not doing this without some sort of motive.
Yeah.
But like the reason why I offer it to them is like, say I bid out this job for them, this and that happens, and like for whatever reason we don't get the job. Sometimes that happens. It's just part of life. What I'll do and say to them is, regardless that I didn't get this contract with you guys, if you ever feel as if the person that you guys do have contract is like making you feel taken advantage of, you don't understand what they're saying, or you have anything potentially down the pipeline, reach out to me to have a conversation. And even though I'm not in a contract with you, I will help you make the right decision that'll move your job forward.
Bro, it's the long game though. It goes back again. And jeez, I'm not gonna lie, I even had this conversation in front of our whole company, and it's a massive company that I work for. And this was in front of leadership. The first time I ever asked or even made a comment, I told them, like, what do you want out of us? Do you want short-term gain or do you want long-term gain?
Realistic,
like, what do you want?
Long-term.
And I asked them because I was like, you say you want long-term, but the way things are panning out is short-term. And you're just copying our competitor who is great. Like, that's what they're great for, short-term. So we got to figure something out. And it's like, people don't understand. If you play the long-term game, your short-term gain is also going to be through the roof.
Yeah.
Because you're doing things honestly in the right way. And yes, people right now, and what's going on in life for so long is short-term. People are tired of it.
Yeah.
If they see someone that does care and is playing the long-term, they're going to switch to you faster. And if they don't switch right away, there's something called a funnel and a pipeline.
Yeah.
If you play it right, every single week, every month, it will get to a point where you'll hit that consistently because you've built that funnel. If they're not ready now, perfectly fine. Like, let them go. When they're ready, they'll come back.
Well, and that's what I like about my job is realistically, I love getting sales. Everybody loves getting sales, but I'd rather lose a job to somebody the first time I talk to you, and they decide to go to somebody else after having conversations with me that they don't believe in the moment, but then that job comes into play, and then they're thinking in the back of their head, dude, that kid Cameron, like, he told me all of this was gonna happen, and like we were like, well, his price is high, and then he explained why his price was high. But now that contractor that he warned us about that's coming in low, as soon as he gets in, he's going to be giving me change orders. And then I always hit him with the, like, remember my number. Like, remember what number I came in at. And at the end of your job for this scope of work, see how much you're paying for it. And I've already had like 1 or 2 people at this job come back to me. And they're like, dude, you were 40 grand cheaper. And I told them, I bid your job. To get it done correctly. And it's minimal change orders. What you're paying for me to do this job is what you're paying. And like some people's haul is, oh, I'm going to come in super cheap. And then these people don't know what they're dealing with. So I'm just going to change order them and then they're past us. And it's like, just keep doing that, bro. You're helping me out.
I'm not going to lie. Like, we could talk business all day, but I'm going to put you on game. This is what I tell people. I'll tell you, I'll never be the low cost leader. There may be times where I can be the lowest cost. I'll never be low cost leader. But I want you at the end of the day, what do you want? If you want a Toyota Camry, go for the Toyota Camry, no problem. It's reliable. It's reliable. It gets you from point A to point B. But if you want Mercedes-Benz, come to me. Not only am I going to get you that product that's Mercedes-Benz, but 2, I'm also going to get you that experience. So you decide what you want. Now, if you want even higher luxury, that's still me. Whatever luxury you want, let me know. And I'll tell them that. And they will crack up laughing. And it's like, like.
But it's the truth.
That's the truth.
It's literally the truth, though. Like, anything in life that's worth something, majority of the time you have to pay for it.
And it's like, like, that's why you get to a point, like, you want, you, at first, yes, like the ego, you want nice things, prideful thing. Yeah, what's up? But no, now for me, it's like, no, I want the finer things. Just because quality over quantity. I don't want to have to deal with all this maintenance
No.
that could have been prevented if I saved just a little bit more and then put it in better quality things. But yeah, that's that. Shoot, what are we on time, Freddie? Oh my gosh, is that 2 hours?
No, that's a song. I was looking
Boy.
at that all the time. I was like,
Boy.
bro, we're going on forever.
If that thing said 2 hours, boy, where we at though, Fred?
It's an hour 45.
Man, I think we can call it here though.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Hey, welcome to Heaven on Earth, episode 9. Another hour and a half. Like, dang, we be on one, bro. Okay, but hey, if you love this episode, please like, share, comment, subscribe. All of the above buttons that you can, just do that so you could spread the message, spread the word. We want to grow this thing out and really speak the word to as many people as possible. So help us out in that sense. But this is John,
This is Cam.
and we out, baby.
Peace.
Freddie.
Sheesh.
Yeah, edit that out.
Yeah.